And welcome back to the Magic Mindset. I'm your host, Jimmy 10 Bucks, and I'm here with a very special guest today, fellow Tymna and Thrasios player, Afonso Silva. And we're going to answer the question today, is Tymna Thrasios dead? We're going to go through an introduction today, introducing the deck, talking about Afonso's experience, his personal brew with it, and how it fits in the current meta today. We've known each other now for about a year now, right? Almost.
A little bit more than that, since you determined that you participated in Portugal.
Yeah. So actually,
and won.
Yeah, we haven't participated in one together, but last year I went to the cEDH Portugal tournament in Lisbon, and around this time, around April or so.
I think so, yeah.
And I met the people who run it, and I made really good friends with them. And then I was moving to Amsterdam, and they told me that they had a friend living there. So I hit you up, and then invited you immediately over to the house to play some Magic when I moved. And we've been friends since.
True.
How long have you been playing Magic, Afonso?
Oof, kind of hard. Let me try to see, because I'm always, every time that I get the answer that I never memorize the answer, but I always picture the same images in the cards, like the set symbol. I want to say just before Mirrodin.
Okay.
So at least 2002.
Okay.
I just know it because Modern, 2003 onwards. And yeah, and then on and off while university, but then fully come back in Kamiga. No, not Kamiga. In Amonkhet, and then I haven't stopped since.
Okay. And where did you come in standard and modern? Or what format?
I did standard in a while, kitchen table, everybody begins a kitchen table.
Yeah.
Eventually standard, then I was young, I was a kid, not enough money for standard. Still today, no, that's way too expensive. So whenever I returned, I decided to just stay with cEDH. I didn't know it. And at the time, it wasn't even cEDH, it wasn't the concept. So yeah.
So around what time did you join Commander then?
Amonkhet, yeah. Almost immediately, yeah.
Right when you came back in. That was like early days of Commander.
Oh yeah, very early. Well, not early days because it was not the beginning of the sets. You already had some exclusive sets.
Yeah.
But most of the staples were super cheap. People didn't give the light of day. Commander players were judged by being very casual, and people didn't care about them. So yeah, we could actually pick up cards for reasonable prices.
Yeah. Were you able to pick up any staple back then that you still have now that just jumped up in price or anything?
Yeah, Mana Crypts, Cradles. Well, plural. I wish it was plural, but at least one of each. Yeah, with a reasonable price at the time compared to what it is today. Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so introducing the deck today, Tymna Thrasios. I think that there's a lot of talk around this deck lately, at least I've seen. It's not getting a good rep lately, is it?
No. Red is way too powerful nowadays. And to be honest, TNT currently, even though it might be controversial, I think it's a worse version of Thrasios, and I always forget his name, the mustache man, Bruce Thrasios.
Yeah, you kind of look like him today, actually.
True, but yeah, wish. Yeah, but the Bruce Thrasios is a better version of TNT right now. The only advantage, because Bruce Thrasios is a bunch of just 2-card combos, and TNT having like a red doesn't have that explosion power. That right now it's a premium in the format. You kind of play, I like to say, hand poker, and then it just explode in one turn and we win, which is either ad nauseum or just a bridge combo. And TNT doesn't have that ability, except if you're playing an ad nauseum brew. And even so, you're comboing with permanents, so it's kind of telegraphed whenever you're going for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna deep dive into the meta and kind of where TNT sits in a bit. But first, I want to know, in case our viewers don't know, I'm sure they do. But what kind of deck is TNT? Where does it stand in a table of 4? What's its role?
So you're mid-range through and through. I don't believe there's any TNT that focus on turbo, even though you can build it like that, sure. And then you have a plan B of just farming stuff in Thrasios and Tymna and accruing value and just going for it. But that's not the deck that it should be. And if you want to play turbo, play an actual turbo. It's weird because it's a deck that currently And that's the reason why I have like 17 different versions. It doesn't have a niche. It just does what it does. It's basically an Esper deck with access to green, and green right now is not at a premium because creatures are killable, artifacts not so much, and they are slower. So I'm gonna say it stands in mid-range. You
Mhm.
can, when you sit at a table, nobody knows what you're doing. They can have a sense, but you can actually just choose whatever. You can play stacks on it. You can play ad nauseum on it. You can just play win conless, beat you to the face with it. You don't actually people don't know what you're up to. That's the
Yeah.
advantage right now.
Yeah, okay. I can see that because it gives away, I mean, you could go, like you said, a stacks variant, a control variant, a combo variant. I think that there's a lot of different ways I've seen it. So that's a good mark is the fact that people might not know what it is sitting down on the table.
Exactly. I can actually say I don't play ad nauseum, and people don't know if I'm lying or not.
How complicated is this deck, would you say, compared to other cEDH decks?
Depends on the. It depends on any four color pile of full of tutors, and it's kind of it depends. It depends on so any four color pile that has partners and the farming capacity, such as blue farm or TNT or Thrasios X, Tymna X, that you can actually go for it. You have a lot of tutors that you can use, and you just need to be able to look at your starting hand, knowing that because of your commanders, you're going to be able to see a couple more cards, and just plan accordingly. And if something happens, shift the plan. It has a lot of tutors, so you just need to be aware how many tutors would I need to do to go for the win, or can I actually do it before somebody wins, or do I need to tutor for response? Do I need to tutor for what do I need to go for? That's the most complicated part of the deck, and it's because you don't have red. Often you're not the fastest deck in the table,
Mhm.
most often in this meta. So it's kind of hard to know whenever you should tutor for an answer or tutor for when you should go in.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but I think that's akin to any mid-range deck.
I would assume that with Tymna, for example, you want to play evasive stacks creatures, and with Thrasios, you basically just want to get Seaborn on the table as fast as possible. Is
Yeah,
it something like that, or is it
it's
um
there's even lists that don't play Seedborn.
okay,
Um, wait, for instance, Razakats doesn't play Seedborn.
okay.
Some of them do. No, nothing is stopping you, but that's not the plan that you want to go for. With Tymna, sure. You also want some more dorks to attack, but dorks generate mana, so you don't want to attack with them. So then you can actually play creatures. Then you have a reason to play creatures. Right now, if you have a creature that doesn't produce mana or value, it's because it's a hate bear.
Hmm.
And if it's a hate bear, it might be stopping you too. It's just in a weird space where it's very hard to determine this is 100% what I should go for at any given time. It's just flexible. It's just decisions, and often you only know down the road if you actually made a good decision or not. So there's no immediate feedback. There's no casting dockside. Get 10 treasures, and if I don't get them, I have a thing. If I get them, I have another one.
Hmm.
No, I need to play something for whatever I'm going to play next. So if I ETB a spell seeker, I I don't know what I'm going to get, but am I in an advantage point right now? Can I go for the win? Can I not go for the win, and should I respond? While if I go look at a deck such as anything devoted to Tacit Consultation, maybe he just gets consultation. Yeah, it's it's complicated with a bunch of tutors and a lot of colors.
And is the deck, let's say you have all these decisions to make in terms of tutors and when to play and when to hold back. Is the deck quite forgiving in that sense? If you do make a mistake, do you see it come back to you, bite you in the butt pretty hard? Or is the deck pretty forgiving with, card advantage or the pieces that you're playing?
Card advantage, no doubt. Like that's the selling point of the deck. You have two commanders that even if you mulligan too hard, or if you kept bet 7, you see so many cards along the game, because turn 1, turn 2 Thrasios, turn 2, turn 3 Tymna, start farming,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just go over a lot of cards. So
Mhm.
it it doesn't punish bad decisions as hard as something with less colors and less tutors. and less command draw in the command zone.
Mhm.
Of course, it's always good to mulligan hard, but you don't have to.
Mhm.
And as long as you can keep a hand with, I'm gonna say, a bad hand, 3 lands, 4 answers. You don't have a plan there. Your plan is to play the commanders, farm, but then you know that the game can drag on because you have 4 things, and eventually you have 4 counters, and eventually you're gonna see some more cards.
Mhm.
So it's not very punishable. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine with two commanders, card advantage in the command zone, something I'm not very familiar with, can be quite good and quite forgiving,
Yeah.
if you have the right pieces on board, I suppose. So I do want to dive in a little bit to. I know you've been playing Tymna Thrasios for a while now, and I'm kind of wondering if we could deep dive into your version of TNT. So what version are you running, and what kind of cards are you running that maybe somebody or the DDB list is not running?
Okay. So basically the reason why I play TNT, I started with, I'm an Abzan aficionado, like I wanna mention, but I came to the realization that you don't need to, but it helps a lot having blue in a pod. So I just decided to include blue. I decided to go TNT. Partners is broken.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so TNT. Then I went on to see a bunch of lists on TNT because I wasn't aware. I still played against it on Flash Hulk, but unfortunately I didn't got it during that period. Broken.
Yeah.
I would have loved to try it. So I decided to just look at a bunch of lists. Most of them are either ad nauseum, either generate infinite mana win with Thrasios, or and farm value with Tymna. So I decided I like strategies that don't depend on commanders,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to depend on playing Thrasios, and I start playing the deck more or less when Dranith Magistrate came around, so it was very everywhere. So I just decided to stick with Razakets. First version that I tried, just because I didn't know it, and I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just learning how to pilot it. I
Mhm.
went to the DB and I saw Razaket's version by Shapers once,
Mhm.
and that's the one I stick with. And I just switched a couple of cards here and there, such as that deck tends to be you can either win with Twister Loops, making everybody draw, or infinite mana, but depending on choices again, with the Bomberman combo. And you have Tacit Consultation, of course. And infinite mana and trampling over everybody with Finality of Devastation. So those
Mhm.
are the 4 win cons. I hope I'm not forgetting any. And yeah, I just wanted to rotate a couple of things. I don't have a time twister. Play with proxies, but it's not my preference.
Mhm.
So I just decided to rotate that win con.
Yep.
So right now I have Bomberman, um, Tacit Consultation, and Infinite Mana Finale of Devastation. And I decided to include actually the combo with the Leonin Relic Order, which is where the name of the deck comes from, Raza Cats.
Uh-huh.
And because I got a foil one that I opened in a draft, I'm running Meathook Massacre, and it's a bad card, but yeah, that would be the one that I'm running with, and people don't expect it.
What are some personal picks of yours that you have in the deck that maybe another TNT deck doesn't run?
TNT in general is kind of hard because, like you said, you can be very flexible. Razakat specifically, I'm actually running Seedborn Muse. I'm sold. Uh, I took Notion Thief for it because I figured out that there's not a lot of wills going around these days. Right now, if
Mhm.
you will, you lose the game.
Yeah.
So I just took out Notion Thief because people are taking out the wheels. I put in Seedborn Muse. It's great.
Yeah. Are you running
List,
any are you running any ways to get Seaborn out like quickly like Elder's Evolution
yeah,
and
absolutely. Eldritch
Natural Order?
Evolution. No, not actual order because I only have it to. So the big bombs right now that I have on the deck are Villis for very early game,
Okay.
Razakat for whenever you're set up. Basically, resolve Razakat, you're winning the game.
Hmm.
Like 90% of the times, unless very specific answers, such as Boseiju and Otawara. Um, Consecrated Sphinx because that's great.
The
And
card is stacked. I love that card.
absolutely, and Seedborn Muse. So those are the top curve of my deck, and yeah, no need to run natural order. I'm not running a very big green bomb, so that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then ways to get those, I'm assuming, to reanimate them and get them into your graveyard. You got,
Yeah.
what do you have? Entomb? Are you running Buried Alive?
No, but I'm running Unmarked Grave,
Okay.
which is entombing sorcery speed for 1 extra mana for a non-legendary
Hmm.
thing. So you can actually, put lead there if you want to combo with it. You can put Seedborn Muse, you can put Consecrated Sphinx, and then you either reanimate it or play it from the grave with Lurus or the Bomberman guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because it basically makes an Animate Dead and a Tutor a two-card combo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
because you see that in your opening hand with a Dark Ritual, and you know you're getting a turn 1 or turn 2 Consecrate Sphinx or
Or
Razaketh if you get a
Villas,
mana
usually.
door or a
Or Villas
Villa.
if it's usually. And the thing of the deck is, if you have, and this is the sell point of the deck to me, you don't need a lot of setup. Like if you're able to put Razaketh into the battlefield, like assuming there's not a lot of stacks, somebody already tried to win, you cannot do this instant speed, unfortunately. But then you can put some stuff on the deck like Alchemist Refuge or so. That's
Hmm.
also a spicy pick that I have on my deck. That you can do instant speed. You just reanimate Razaketh. You have 13 life and 2 creatures. You can win from there. You don't need anything else.
Two
It's
other
a,
creatures than Razaketh.
exactly.
Okay.
It's kind of complicated combo, but I'm pretty sure that Shaper wrote it on his list, so you can read the primer, and it's
Hmm.
there. For the other TNT lists, I'm not so keen because I really like playing with the graveyard. There's not a lot of graveyard hate right now, which there should be because bridge is a thing. But fortunately, no. Let's hope Hulk doesn't return because that way I can actually run the deck for a little bit longer.
Hmm.
And yeah, TNT usually, I think that the brews that people are most often used to right now are the infinite mana
Hmm.
with a devoted druid and I'm trying to remember the name of the card that
Uh,
makes it
Switch
uh,
reconfiguration.
exactly. So that's the most common thing, just generating mana with that or Bomberman, and that's why Bruce Trusses is better because you can actually just play the pony and Dockside Extortionist and win, or you have more combos, AB combos that just do that. Alchemist Refuge, I
Ah,
believe the land
but
that
again.
gives flash, yeah. Just because I'm
Okay.
noticing that a lot of decks nowadays just win instant speed, and I want to be able to do so. Like it's often that you just win over somebody else's winning, or you find the perfect opportunity to silence goes on the stack, something crazy is happening, and
Yep.
you just want to win. Right now, a deck needs to be able to win when it's not his turn.
Yep. I
Uh,
agree. I'm a Yeva player. I know exactly
exactly.
what it's like. Um, and are you running Emergent Zone then? So you can crop
Yes.
rotation into that as well? Super hot right
Yes.
now as
Exactly.
well, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. I think the strongest that I've ever been ever in a table was Consecrated Sphinx, Seedborn Muse, Alchemist Retrieval over with playing against a Rule of Law, and I was playing on your turn better than you and more things than you. So yeah, the deck can actually achieve pretty strong game states.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the current meta now and kind of where TNT sits. And this is kind of why I don't know if it's a running joke, but people aren't really running it and saying that it's a bad deck in 2023. And that's because of the imminent red color in the format right now. With Dockside, Breach, Deflecting Swat, these cards are really, really good right now. And so why do you play TNT in 2023? Why play this deck right now? What advantage does this deck have over its brother with Bruce Tarl and Thrasios?
I would love to say it's competitive mindset, but it's more stubbornness than anything else. I already gave in to blue. I don't want to give in to red, but boy, is red good. Uh, at least with this deck, I can reanimate dog sides of other people. So I can actually play it. But Deflecting Sword right now is the best counter spell.
Yeah.
Bridge is the best reanimation, well, recursion spell,
Mhm.
and Dockside is just bonkers. It's the best
Yeah.
ritual spell.
Hmm.
So even though if you and even Jessica's Will and whatnot, so 4 spells, great spells. That's mostly the reason why people play red these days. Only those 4 spells. So
Yeah.
imagine my resistance just comes from stubbornness,
Hmm.
and I like green, black, and white. That's me. I gave into blue. But boy, I don't want to give into red.
I run Esper, and I think Esper is getting a kind of a good rep lately. To be honest, it's having a lot of top 16s with Tibbet, for example. Raffine, I haven't seen so many, but I know a lot of people like that deck as well. Tymna Malcolm is hot right now too. And if you think about it, TNT has an Esper shell with green added in. So I'm wondering if people are underestimating Tymna Thrasios, just the fact that it doesn't have red, even when Esper is, we could say is in such a good spot right now.
But then,
What do you think about that?
what does green bring you actually?
Stability.
As
Green
in with
brings
dorks?
consistency with mana dorks, yes. Try playing
Yeah, but
Esper. Try playing Esper and mulling for going forth and mulling for fast hands.
yeah, but that's true. But mana rocks give you immediate mana. Dorks you have to wait for a turn, and it's very telegraphed whatever you want to do, and they are killable. Sure, you have Collector Roof, no rods, and the Karn, but that's not often that you see those.
Mhm.
While just pinging dorks, it's true. Like, and it's so clearly when you're playing TNT, you want to play dorks because you want to be able to eat stuff with Tymna and
Mhm.
hit Tymna consistently, and you want to play dorks because you want to activate Thrasios. Mana rocks are not so good because even though they help Thrasios, they don't help Tymna. Um, it's in a weird spot. It's like Esper where you have to play dorks, and dorks are not as fast. So there are turns often where just don't tap out, but waste some resources to play some dorks that don't give you immediate feedback, immediate value, and you leave yourself open to be one on, and you cannot leave anything because you have to develop into future resources that don't give you immediate resource. So it's different from Esper because there's more a permanent based game.
Yeah.
Even though if you play Tivit, for instance, sure you have some permanence, but you can just stay open until you can actually play the big boy and respond to stuff.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to develop the board.
Yeah. Well,
And yeah.
it's true. Esper doesn't have many permanents on the board. But what I think about is with Esper has such good control pieces with Dranet, Off Agent, all of those kinds of things. And then if you throw those hay bears into TNT, throw a reanimation package on it with Razaketh, you could have, that's kind of my thought process when I think about TNT, and I have no experience with the deck.
I can, but the only thing that I get from green is what, Collector Roof? That's it.
Collector tutors, creature tutors.
Yeah, Sylvan Tutor.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
it's
that's it. It's kind of rough for green right now. I really want something bust to be green, to be printed on green, to be honest. And you as well as a mono green player,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not a great color right now, so we can hope. I'm hopeful. I think Wizards, heard the crowd when everyone was talking about white and red, and now white is actually a really great support color, and red
Hmm.
is probably the best support color. Or yeah,
Well,
you
that's
see
why
red.
that's why Blue Farm is so good. It's a Greek 6 shell with white support. Can only
Yeah.
be that bad. You have Tacit Consultation with all the toys to ramp out early with
Mhm.
red and to actually stack people with the white.
Given the current meta, um, what are the strengths of TNT right now in 2023? In regards, we could be talking about, considering the stacks pieces that are commonly played right now, like Douthie or Dranith or Op Agent, or given the win cons that we have right now, Thoracle's hot, Breach is hot. Where what benefits or could we say for playing TNT in 2023 right now?
So if you're playing TNT, you are often not like there's always something that you can do. There's
Mm-hmm.
always a way that you can see more cards.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have 4 mana and Thrasios, you're not out of the game. You can just tap it slowly. Get 5 lands, get 6 lands, eventually have 2 activations.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that doesn't have any creatures and it's playing very controlly, you have a couple of attacks. You can actually draw. So you're never out of the game, or it's very hard to take you out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
TNT, like we said in the beginning, it's very flexible. People don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a sense. They assume that you're on Tacit Consultation. Everything else, they don't know. You can be playing Razaketh. You can be playing infinite mana stuff. You can be playing what's Isochronic Scepter? Like they don't know what they have to stop you with. Do I need creature counters? Do I need actual counters? So they don't know which response to this save in their hand. And right now it's being because it's being shit talked everywhere. It's actually looked down upon. So you can get away with. They will attack other people first before attack you. They will kill other people's stuff first before killing your stuff. But you still need to politic a lot. You
Hmm.
need to, control the table. Say, hey guys, don't play artifacts. That guy's playing Dockside Extortionist. I'm not gonna win out of nowhere. Please focus on somebody else.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, that
I
would be
think
one advantage. Yeah,
I think you said two really key things there. One, obviously, politics is the greatest resource any player has. Is when they're playing a game of Magic, is their mouth. If you're not a good politicker or you don't know how to talk to people or get people to do what you want, you're probably not winning very many games.
that's
I
true.
would, and second of all, um, the fact that people don't know what you're doing with your deck is really strong right now. People
I
are
bet
very
that you got some good reactions whenever you're playing Eva and people like, what the hell is that?
yes, I'm a Yeva main, and there are, I would say, 80 to 90% of the people don't know how my deck wins. And so, just like with TNT or another deck that people aren't familiar with, such as Bagged Up, maybe, people don't know what to counter and what to get rid of because they don't know what's coming next. Especially if you can hide behind a few turns of playing control, keep your pieces in your hand and play them when you need to. It's really strong because there's always going to be that person going for it, and they will remove all of the threatening pieces on the board when they don't know what your deck does. They don't know what to remove from yours. And I think that's really strong. Absolutely. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
let's talk about pod compositions really quickly. I got two interesting questions for you. One is, Afonso, you're sitting down to a table with your TNT deck and you see three other decks and you're excited. You know this is going to be a good game for you. What three kinds of decks or pod composition does TNT like?
So basis is depends. I think every single question that you had, I think I responded with depends. But TNT, it's flexible like that. I always have a plan accordingly to what the table looks like. If you
Mhm.
give me a table that doesn't have any creatures and it's a hand poker kind of situations, like I mentioned. For instance, any turbo list that maybe wants to resolve a Dragon Rage, maybe a Tymna, maybe a Crom or something, and they're just looking to accrue value. I want to resolve a Tymna first, and I want to attack. I'm happy with that pot because I know that I'm going to have some draws. Focus point is you want to have draws. Draws equal options. That's it. That's the thing that you want to do in early game. You're not even looking to formulate the plan to win. You're just looking to get options. So you want to draw. If I'm looking at a table that's going to answer each other, and I based on creatures, so stacks based, like I have a Winota that is just pummeling like a Grixis deck. I'm fine with that either. I want to be ignored. I just want to be drawing a couple of cards. So yeah, ideally pods. You want pods that you know what they are doing because you're a control deck in the beginning of the game,
Yep.
and you just want to be able to actually either politic around or inform the people what's happening, and know which answers do you need to actually respond to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, give me three turbo decks. I'm fine with playing with TNT against them. I
Okay.
just need to inform them each other, like they know what they are doing. So I think it's one of the matchups that is actually very good into three turbos, which is often, oh, is this deck valuable? What happens if you catch three rock size? I'm fine. I just need to actually mulligan for some answers. If you
Mm-hmm.
give me three stacks decks, that's kind of hard. But if I'm the only deck that is going against the stacks decks, I can always sell my case as I'm completely stopped. You're playing against each other, and mulligan either for Cyclonic Rift, which is the typical answer,
Mm-hmm.
or actually the reason why I put Meathook Massacre on the deck is to be able to respond to a rule of law. I
Mm-hmm.
can win the game slowly by playing one spell at a time. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you kind of adapted your deck actually, which I think is really smart to do, is at least have one way to win around stacks, which I
But
also try and do.
the bad part is we are currently, or are we? We are enter. People say that we are in a turbo meta. I don't think so. I think we are more in a mid-range meta,
I agree.
and in the mid-range, Tymna Thrasios is not the best.
Mm.
So the worst pods would be having
That,
more
that was my next
mid-range.
question. You beat me to
Yeah.
it, exactly. So you're sitting down to a pod with 3 other players. What's your nightmare as a TNT player?
Just if you put me across 3 Bruce Thrasios, I have no chance to win the game. Like the game is gonna last 3 hours. Everybody's gonna draw 100% in a tournament setting. But if you just put me against more mid-range decks, mine is not the best because I do intend to win fast. I do intend to reanimate Razaketh and go for the win. But I just don't have the capacity of actually punching as hard in the face because of Bruce Thrasios. So I'm losing in combat because Tymna doesn't attack,
Mhm.
and I'm losing in Thrasios because they often have the more A and B combos infinite mana. So I'm definitely not winning that game unless I get like the nuts in the hand. Yeah.
Mhm. Have there been any new cards lately that have really been auto includes for your TNT list, for example, this past year? What was the
There
last auto include that you had, for example?
not any auto include. I don't believe so. But there is one that I've been trying, which is the Mercurial Scimitar one. The one that
Ah,
is unblockable on Tymna that you actually remove oil counters and just double
yep.
the next spell that you do. I've been experimenting with that. It's actually nice because it's either anti-combo, anti-counter, or you can just reanimate two things, which is nice, or two tutors, you name it. It's been doing well, but I wouldn't call it an auto include. But
Hmm.
there is an auto include coming on the next set, which is the fairy one that every time that somebody draws their second card, you draw another one.
Yeah.
That's great.
Very
Like
mastermind.
exactly. That's gonna be bonkers. Like I said, you
Yep.
just want draws. I think the one auto include was what's the name of the bird 1/3 that you can connive?
Ledger Shredder.
Um, Ledger Shredder. Ledger Shredder was very good for the deck actually.
Hmm.
Very good because you're just seeing so many cards and sometimes you don't have a way to put Razaketh if you draw it into the graveyard.
Yep.
Great card.
Yeah, I was playing Reanimator, Esperlist for a while, where Ghostly Pilfer was in there, so I could discard easily something quickly, and Ledger Shredder just automatically replaced that
Exactly.
card. Yeah, it was
Exactly.
insane. Would you like to give any final thoughts about anyone looking to pick up TNT in 2023, or would you like to say anything to people who don't think TNT is good in today's meta?
I mean, you can still put some results with TNT. Best ones I got was 2 top 16s in Chaos, but I think I was also lucky because the pods actually just, I drew well, the pods went well. If you want a resilient deck that can win at any given point and it's always a threat, it's TNT. You're
Hmm.
never out of the game. Really, you're never out of the game.
Hmm.
You just need to draw cards. Specifically, the reanimated version, I really like it. Just look at the Shaper Savant list in the database and just go from there. Tweak a couple of lists. He's not very active, so he doesn't update it often. But if you get a good basis, you can just change whatever you want. It's meta adaptive because you can just choose what you want to reanimate. You face a bunch of Nagilas. I'm gonna take out Villas and put an Elishnorn. There's nothing stop you. You want to play a big dumb creature that you want to play just because you can, and it
Hmm.
actually can work because you're not playing its mana cost. It's just very functional. Like you can just keep an awful 7 and somehow you're still in the game. It's yeah,
Amazing.
that's the thing. That's the thing that I like the most.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks. All right. So we're going to end the session today with 3 rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions in succession, and I'd like just a quick few word answer on each
Okay.
question. Okay. First question. Are you looking forward to building or are you building a new cEDH deck or testing one right now?
I'm oof, that's hard. So yes, I've been testing Tayam.
Hmm.
The Luminous Brood. I don't know her full
Luminous
title.
Engine. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's an engine, alright. I really like it. So I'm going back to the roots of giving up the blue a little bit.
Hmm.
But I've been testing it, but I'm missing the TNT. I think I'm Tymna addicted, to be honest. That's a warning. If you ever play Tymna, it's addictive.
Hmm.
It's yeah. More than
Okay.
Thrasios to me. That's why I don't play Bruce Thrasios.
Cool. Next question. Tournament prep. What's the one thing you do in the morning before you play a tournament?
Eat
Eat.
and eat. Fill a bag with some chocolate bars, some water, and yeah, psych
Cool.
people up. Tell them that I don't win a lot. Point to the other guys and say they win a lot. Please focus them.
Play
That's
a
about
mind
it.
game.
Do like some lobby work. Yeah.
Love that. And last question. Your favorite casual commander?
It's not very casual. I really like playing Yawgmoth,
Mm-hmm.
but now I've been changing for Braids.
Mm-hmm.
Again, even though I play Abzan, I'm a mono black guy. Braids stacks, so not really casual, I believe so, but at least makes the game interesting and everybody hate me.
High
So
powered, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
I got a few of those. I like that too. All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Afonso, so much today. I appreciate your time. Hopefully, we got
Welcome.
some people inspired to think differently or even pick up the deck. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much.